Hello, folks. I'm back. Tuesday the 20th. Cheers. Mm. Mm. So, I'm up kind of early, like yesterday. Maybe this is just kind of the way it is right now. I've been going to bed earlier, too. So, I enjoyed sharing about my brother yesterday, and it looks like you folks enjoyed seeing some jazz records, so I'm going to show some more jazz. I have jazz. It's part of my DNA, It's not because of my brother. I love all music. I just happen to be able to be into a lot of different types of music. Most of those jazz albums I showed were mine. The first bunch I showed were my brother's. And frankly, that little bunch of records of his that are separate, because I've actually folded a lot of his records into my collection. Those that were in that one section separate kind of were leftovers, and it was like they were so damaged that I kind of as I was filing things, they kind of got forgotten, so they got stuck away. But in a way, it is kind of a cool space in the collection where it's just that's where Patrick is. But actually, I have more of his records throughout here. If I tried to show you all my jazz, I'd be on here for a few days. I don't think I'm exaggerating. So I just pulled some, and for a minute I always thought, well, let me at least do one from each alphabet. And they said, no, that's even, I don't feel like doing that, So I just grabbed some, okay, with my brother in mind, as well as just in general. I think Paul was asking about other guitar players. We, and I'll speak on behalf of my brother, we were exposed to all those guitar players. Tal Farlow, George Benson. I can speak for my brother and agree with him. We both rate George Benson's playing, but we don't like his records. I've been given George Benson records over the years, and I always get rid of them because I don't listen to them. That's not about whether or not he's good, it's about the material and the fact that some of it you've just heard too much, like Breeze and stuff. And his early Columbia records are, nothing essential there. Tel Farlow was kind of mellow that I remember. The other guys that he mentioned, we heard them all. My dad made sure, and then the fact that I had so many musicians besides my dad in my family, my uncles, and then all the friends, it's like we heard it. So I just grabbed some out of the other room, more kind of essential stuff. The avant-garde Don Cherry with John Coltrane, right? I've shown this before. This is a prize piece of mine. Downbeat jazz writer, rest in peace, Will Smith, made sure I got it. This back in the 70s. This is an original Cosmic Music by John and Alice Coltrane. It's in great shape too. I have a ton of Coltrane. I just grabbed these right quick because both my entire family loves John Coltrane. I'll say it in the present tense. Last Train, my favorite things, but of course I didn't grab Love Supreme. I've got a couple copies of Love Supreme. Then Alice Coltrane, Monastic Trio. This is not the reissue. This is an original. And so here is where, on this artist, my brother Patrick couldn't get with him. But I love Ornette Coleman. Again, I'm just showing some. I have much more by Ornette Coleman. Skies of America. The Art of the Improvisers. Ornette was a trailblazer. Ornette. This is the shit, y'all. Free jazz. The Ornette Coleman Double Quartet. You got to know this stuff, people. I love jazz. I love all kinds of music. Really love Don Cherry and his world view and approach to music. Here with folks over in Europe. Eternal Now. Yeah. Symphony for Improvisers. Original on Blue Note. Awesome music. Awesome. Relativity Suite with the Jazz Composers Orchestra. Got this a while ago, as you can see with by the cut corner cutouts. Where is Brooklyn? This is Fire. It's fantastic. Don Cherry album. Yeah, Ed Blackwell, Henry Grimes, Pharoah Sanders, Get Out of Here. This is incredible. Oh, and I grabbed these out of the other room because when we were talking about, when I mentioned that James Newton Howard, and I'm not surprised, John, that you have the album. You have a mint copy. Yes, I'm jealous. I'll be honest. Some of you other collectors, I have a good collection, but many of you other collectors, your collectors are mind blowing. John, yours is one. Dereck Fisher, yours is another one. They're mind blowing. I want all those records. But in talking about the James Newton Howard, someone brought up about, yes, I knew that Wendy Walter Carlos did it before he did with the monophonic synthesizer for Switched on Bach. Of course. For me, it's an of course. Of course I have this album. He said this is it's like history. It's something that you need to know about. I even remember the first time I heard it, it was so unusual. As a kid, it's like, what the fuck is this? Well-tempered synthesizer. Back when he was still Walter. Wendy now. I sincerely hope that the change made her happy. That's where I'm at about all that trans and sex change stuff. If that's your path, I hope it makes you happy. And do you know this one, people? Sonic Seasonings. It's good stuff. Know your music, people. This is fantastic. Okay. Back to some jazz out of the other room. Airto. Fantastic. I just grabbed this one. And then, because I keep thinking about Cannonball, this is the one that I thought my dad was at a live show. I must have gotten the information mixed up. But this is also why I'm pretty sure that my dad at least met Cannonball in Chicago at this time. I love this album. That takes me back to childhood. And then this one, Why Am I Treated So Bad? Cannonball Adderley Quintet. Love it. My brother also enjoyed fusion. I didn't grab, I'm just going to grab some stuff that's like, I'll just see what they're so like. My McLaughlin is fairly, oh shit. And this isn't it, and then I'm not going to show them all, but I'll just grab some because, like I said, I'll be here all day. I'm just now here thinking about all the jazz albums out in the A through the C's that I didn't grab, like Marion Brown and stuff. But Patrick and my older brother James, we love John McLaughlin. My older brother James got to hang out with John McLaughlin in the original Mahavishnu Orchestra when he was living, I think, in Indiana, working at a music venue, and Mahavishnu played there, and he hung out with them all day. My Goals Beyond. This is a Desert Island album, if you haven't heard this. Piece 1 and Piece 2. Oh. Okay? Piece 1 and Piece 2. And then he does, on acoustic guitar, Goodbye Pork Pie Hat by Mingus on here. Wow. Just beautiful. And then an experience that I got to share with my brothers was seeing this version of the Mahavishnu Orchestra live in Wichita, Kansas, and they were opening for the Guess Who I wanted to see, but no one else did, and I went down with my brothers, and a bunch of other folks, so I didn't get to see the Guess Who. They wouldn't stay. But this was wonderful. I remember that John McLaughlin had a broken foot, so he had to sit through the concert, and he still blazed. And I've mentioned this before. Jean-Luc Ponty kept trying to blow John McLaughlin away with solos, which makes sense to me. Ponty was hot, but McLaughlin can't be stopped, even with a broken foot, you know. And Narada Michael Walden was incredible. It was an amazing, memorable, wonderful show. So glad I got to experience it with my brothers. Inner Worlds. This is a good one, and this is famously sampled by Massive Attack. I think I got it right. Early album, Where Fortune Smiles. I used to have an original. I like this cover though. This is great. Passion, Grace, and Fire. The three, McLaughlin, De Miola, and De Lucia. Extrapolation. See, I'm just showing McLaughlin. I haven't got to any of their artists yet. I got a bunch of jazz. Visions of the Emerald Beyond. Love this album. This is my original copy I bought when it came out. Been looking to upgrade it. Haven't been able to. I got a ton of Mahavishnu. Devotion with Buddy Miles. And let's just cut. Someone in the VC sent this to me with Jimmy Herring and his band. This is very good. And of course, since you can see them, these are essential. Birds of Fire, and of course the first one, The Inner Mounting Flame. Really important records. Really important records. Jazz. What else can I just grab really easily, quickly? Well, my Montgomery, can I get to my Montgomery right quick? I can get some of it, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. These are just some of the main people that are popping into my head. Down here on the ground, yes. My brother didn't try to sound like Wes, but he was greatly inspired by Wes's technique. My brother did not use a pick. He played with his thumb, like Wes Montgomery. Love this album, Guitar on the Go, Wes Montgomery. It's a Japanese pressing, no obi, but I like Japanese pressings. Encores. This one, which is, I think, a compilation, but it's an early, and this is a second copy. I love Mikosa off of this by Wes Montgomery. Going out of my head. He did a great job of crossing over greatest hits, but he never lost his magic. Moving West. This is the shit, y'all. I mean, I've got a lot of jazz. I actually do. Day in the Life. I could go for hours or days. Road Song, okay? Along those same lines, and I'll show a couple more other things besides these jazz ones, because it's just because. So I did well at staying out of the record stores until Sunday. I played a gig Saturday, got paid, got paid nicely. And so I said, yeah, I'll spend some of this on some records. And one of the things I bought, I'll mention you, Everett, because I think you'll be seeing this. Everett, I'm so glad we're reconnected. I had talked about when he and I and a couple of other of my friends, we visited this radio station. It was a black radio station in Omaha, KOWH at the time. And we did a tour, and at the end of the tour, they gave us some free records. One of the records that Everett got, which, when you think about it, is mind-blowing. He got a promo copy of Weather Report's first album. That was how we got turned on, was Everett getting this album. Now, the reason why I'm showing it is because, of course, I have an original. And, I'm not going to try to grab them. I have all the Weather Report albums. I have all of them. And have an original of this. But when I was down at Grapefruit, I noticed this, a gatefold, a reissue. And then it's like, yeah, I'm going to get it. On blue vinyl. And it's recut, remastered. Sounds wonderful. And this is a great album. I got to see the original Weather Report. Alphonse Mouzon was not on drums. Greg Errico of Sly and the Family Stone was the drummer. And he was great. He was no slouch. He could handle it. So that comes to mind. Talked to Everett yesterday. I'm really glad we're reconnected. He reminded me that it was he and I together who saw Tommy Bolin and Energy for a dance at our high school, Creighton Prep. Everett was telling me yesterday that, to his recollection, that was his first rock show experience. I had almost forgotten. We got to share that. That was special. And I shared with Everett that since then, Tommy Bolin's brother Johnny has befriended me. And whenever I play in Sioux City, where they're from, Johnny always comes to my shows. Always comes. Always makes sure to come up and say hello. I love that. That mutual respect. Some other records sitting out besides the jazz. I could go on with the jazz, folks, But what did I play yesterday? Italian band, Sitta Frontale. See, my brother James, my older brother James, he could keep up with this. I would turn him on to stuff, and he liked stuff like Henry Cow and stuff, but my younger brother said he couldn't get into it. But this Italian progressive rock, members of Osana were in this band. So there's a slight similarity. There's a horn. The playing is nimble. It's good. Sitta Frontale. This is good. Good progressive rock. I listened to some of this yesterday. It's just it's like these guys have a sound and a world of their own. I really like it. Saw them live, and that really sealed the deal. Seeing Animal Collective years ago. Merriweather Post Pavilion, is that the name of this one? The one where if you hold it, look at it long enough, it starts to move. It looks like it's moving. Good album. Yesterday was Nick Drake's birthday. Brighter Later. It's the original. Love this album. People have asked me, what do you play to get out of depression? I don't do it like that. But I can tell you music that brightens my mood, or when I hear it, it's an uplift, just automatically. This is one of those albums. The way it starts off, and the string arrangements on here, just always lifts me up. Everett, if you see this is out, and it's because of a thread in a group online. People were talking about the Dereck label. And so I pulled this. This happens to be one of those KOWH albums I got. This one I got. Pacific Drift, Feelin' Free, on the Dereck label. There's my name written big like a kid, because I was a kid when I got this. Now, when I first got this, I was so-so with it and didn't consider this progressive rock. It's considered progressive rock now. I just thought it was English, an English band. There's some progressiveness on it. It goes from chamber to blues to just rock and roll all through. And the lead vocalist, Barry Reynolds, I don't know, I can't recall what else he's done, but his name popped up in conversation about this. But this is one of those records, Everett, that I got from the station. I also showed this, Clouds, Watercolor Days. This is their last album. This band, Clouds, and the organist had a big, Billy Ritchie. He had a big influence on Keith Emerson. It's well documented. Keith Emerson said, that's where he got the idea of being wild with the organ and jumping on top of it and stuff. Billy Ritchie was doing that stuff before Keith Emerson. So there's some music for you, some jazz. It's like I'm just, you see if something pops out real quick over here. because I do have a lot of jazz. Here's one. Do you know this one? Masahiko Togashi, Spiritual Nature. Come on now. Know your shit. This is shit. Come on now. That's a hell of an album right there, okay? And then I get way into ECM. This is just a couple that I grabbed. I have several. Blue Sun by Ralph Towner. I try to make a list of what I show, but I'm showing so much today that I'm not going to, okay? Just to let you know. Another Ralph Towner with John Abercrombie. Got to meet John Abercrombie and talk to him just for a little bit in Chicago. And when I pulled that, this was next to it. Have you ever heard this album? Colin Towns, Full Circle. Music from the film Full Circle. I've never seen it. Makes me think of Mike Oldfield a little bit. This is good. Have you heard this? That's what I have. That's what I'm going to show today. Well, I'll show one more thing. One of the other records that I got on Sunday, I love this band. Boards of Canada. The Campfire Head Phase. Yeah, they have an immediately recognizable electronic sound, and I love it. It's warm. It's always warm and kind of woozy, dreamlike. Love it. Well, that's a quick 20 minutes. People, I also appreciate and love how some of you feel open to share what's happening with you. Like a couple folks shared stories about their families and their brothers because of what I said about my situation. That touches me, and I love that people feel safe in sharing here. I just want to acknowledge that. It's really one of the least things that we can do for each other is to listen to each other's stories, especially when they need to be heard. So I appreciate you sharing, and please share freely. Okay? Talk to you later.